Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's conversation. We're going to be talking about the salon industry and why some people end up in college before they go into the industry, either as a stylist or in other ways.
Yeah, so my name is Charles. This is my wife, Nicole. We are known throughout the Davines world as the Gillicks. And today we are joined with our daughter-in-law, Caitlyn Hogan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, people going to school before entering the industry. Remembering back, because I was thinking about it the other day, and my Nana always said, like, you're going to do hair or you're going to be a teacher. And why the two things, I'm not sure, but I always remembered that. And then as I was finishing high school and deciding what that next step would look like, my parents pushed college. They wanted me to have more than they had. And I think their thought process was that's what it's going to be. You're going to go to school, you're going to get a degree, it's going to be this great thing, and you're going to enter the world and have this great job. That's not the reality at all. So I was torn when I went in for my orientation. I was stuck between criminal justice and accounting. I had to pick a path, whatever that was going to look like. I decided to go into criminal justice. And then as I began, you have 2 years of all your prereqs. So your basic high school classes all over again, but you start to get these intro classes. So I took a psychology class and I thought, this is my path. This is what I'm going to do. But I still loved the intricacy and the detail that went into, sounds kind of strange, but like criminals and the way that their mind works, why they ended up like that, whether it is with addiction or population or wherever they started and
Right.
why they ended up there. So then I went into juveniles thinking maybe I will be on their behalf if they have to testify in court or work next to them. So then I got my internship at the courthouse, which at that time I thought this was the coolest thing ever. I basically got to like nosedive into all these criminal cases, every single detail that you could imagine. There were things that I was sheltered from that you're like, how can this even be a thing in somebody's life? And so I knew that I wanted to help people, but I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like, whether law school was going to be my next step or what. Then COVID happened, and I kind of took a step back. During that time, I met my husband, and I remember the time where I was on the verge of, do I go to law school? I'm not likely going to go here, or do I find something here that kind of fills that void? And I couldn't figure it out. I kept interviewing for all these places, and nothing felt like the right fit to me. I then remember you guys were having a Christmas party at your house, your first house. And you were having me detail all these signs out. And I was like, I want to be at this party. Like, I want to be, why am I not invited? Like, I want to be
You're always invited.
Always invited.
Yeah.
And
Well, gym didn't work for us, so it was
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Like sometimes our kids would be there, but sometimes they wouldn't.
yeah. And so that was my first like initial thing of maybe that wasn't my path. And I noticed your
I
attention.
think it was actually, I think you were detailing it out for a team meeting.
That's what it
It
was.
was like our
It was,
2-day
'cause
culture
that's
event,
right.
a culture building event.
Yeah, that's right. And I noticed the attention to detail and the fact that you took time to make sure everybody had their things, make sure everybody was accounted for. And I was like, wow, I want to work for her. I want to do this. Like, I think that this is my place. And then I started to get introduced to the team, and I started building those connections. And that's where I knew, like, I can still work with people on not helping them with these dramatic and traumatic life events. Because then as I started my family, that was too hard for me.
I would imagine.
I would imagine you'd see a lot of just troubling things on your psyche. It's like, I can't handle this and
Too much.
also be a good mother and
Yeah.
whatever else you have going on.
And I think growing up with my dad being a first responder and then Jim having the same type of position, I also see or hear the things that they have to go through. And I didn't want there to be so much of that in our household. Like I wanted something to be more light and more, even just having the opportunity to work around his schedule and
Right.
work around time with kids or what that looks like. So I started as a receptionist.
Yep.
And I remember I had these two young girls training me. And I was like, I don't think any of this is right. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like this is not what's supposed to be happening. All these scripts. And I was like, I'm not sure. And so it was fun for me to kind of, I came from a different level and a different perspective from them. And so it was fun kind of evolving that. And then you were able to like pass off some of these tasks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you got going on now? What do you do in Blue? What is your daily responsibility?
Yeah. So I think I have the best job. I think I have the best position
We're
within the
thrilled
job.
to hear that you think you have the best
Yeah,
job.
I think because I get both perspectives. So for me, obviously, being around people and that fulfills me. Like that fills my heart. Is just being around people and having the opportunity to engage with them on any sort of level. It could be just a quick pass by, or it could be, I'm going to help you through this issue. And so for me, as guest relations specialist, I get to do both. I get to work hand in hand with the stylist, like managing the floor, even down to the little things of like inventory, or they'll say, hey, can we swap this? Managing systems and being their advocate to you guys as well, if there does need to be a change. And so I'm a little bit of that liaison, but I also get the opportunity to work with clients similar to their role as well. So I get to stop in and check in, and I get both.
Yeah, you don't have the lengthiness of the time with the client, but I couldn't say in any way, shape, or form that your impact on their experience is any less than what a stylist is impacting that client for. Maybe you, well, I mean, I feel like you do. You find time and you find ways to go in and have those kind of intimate
Mm-hmm.
conversations with them, even though it's fast. You're really, really good at it. I feel like it's been such a blessing for us, and I wish every salon could have someone like you in their space, because you really, really care about people, and that shows through. So I find it interesting that where you got your start in the adult world and how it's evolved and made its way into this profession. I don't find it like surprising that the being able to care for people is something that's intriguing to you, but just that it could be such a dramatic difference in, yes, you still get to make a difference in people's lives every day. We definitely do that.
Right.
But you're mostly receiving people in a positive, state.
Much
They're
different
choosing,
state.
yeah. The reason they intersect with you or come into your life is much different than what you would have had if you had stayed in your other chosen profession initially. I can't imagine doing that. Like that to me takes an unbelievable, like somebody that's wired differently than I am.
And
It
I
would
remember
almost be in a phase where like you have to leave that at work. You leave work at work and you come home. Otherwise, you would go crazy. I would have to imagine.
Do you feel like there are parallels to that, just that statement that Charles said, just in what a stylist or a guest relations specialist, and I think it's such an interesting title. I was actually, when you said it, I was like, we need to give you a different title, but it really does make sense, because Charles and I say that all of the stylists, anybody that joins our team is a guest of ours. And so you really are the guest relations specialist and a liaison. That's a great way to describe it, between the stylist team. I mean, down to managing the front desk team, even though we don't have a front desk right now, but all of that. And then also dealing with our outside guests, which are our clients that come in. Do you feel like there's truth to what Charles said, even in your previous career, that you have to leave some of it? Like, what does that separation look like in the salon world?
I think I think Blue is very special in that way because obviously I didn't go to school for this, so I had no introduction of what to expect or what it felt like to be a stylist or work in a salon. I think the great thing about Blue is that they do have that opportunity. Like once their shift ends, yeah, their client, you might run a little late with their client. They don't have to worry about making that call or having a client call in. Like they do have that opportunity to separate. And I think that we really try to make it a thing for clients to feel comfortable coming to us and calling the salon or texting the salon rather than feeling like they have to go directly to their stylist. So I think that there is that opportunity to just leave it.
All right. So that's great with the clients. Do you have any interactions, or maybe what is your day-to-day stylist interactions like when you're
Yeah.
actually dealing with the team?
I get to play a big role within the stylist, not just their day-to-day tasks or their schedules. Like that is a big part of our mornings. And so we will sit down, and if there is a scheduling conflict or an area of concern, I feel like I can be that person that can either watch the time or know when to get support. So not even on their day-to-day tasks, but I also get to be a part of their growth, which is pretty incredible. So I get to see, like for Riley, I came in at such a pivotal time in her career where her Wednesday mornings would be empty and she only had evening clients, to now her book is completely full. So getting to know her clients, getting to also watch her grow behind the chair and being a part of their goals, what that looks like, how to strategize with them on how they can achieve this goal, because just as much as it's success for Blue, it's success for them. And it's actually like tangible. Like they have that reward or they have that benefit that they're working towards. So
What does it look like to do that? Like, what are your daily tasks that help them get to, or what do their goals look like every month? What does that whole process look like?
at first, it was overwhelming. There's a lot of numbers to track. There's so many things and ways that you can go about it. I think that we have like condensed it enough to be impactful, but not be overwhelming. So, over the month, they have a service goal, they have their retail goal. We break that down further to their average ticket, their client count, all the way. So they have a strategic plan. So maybe their goal is, hey, if we can hit this number 3 consecutive months, what outcome works best for you? Or like the stylists get to be such a big part of what their growth looks like. It's not like we say, okay, you get this at this point. It's not that. We sit down and have a very personal conversation of what they would like to see. And so it's so different from everybody. It's not always money or financial. It can be more freedom or flexibility, whatever that's going to look like. So I always do check-ins. So I'll let them know. I'll pull all of the reports of where they're at for the month, pull their projected. We have this much scheduled. Where can we adjust? Where can we shift things around? So I do get to play. And it's nice also just to check in and ask how it's been going.
So you mentioned both. What do you find is pushing stylists today? Would it be more financial? Would it be growth? Or, what are their goals?
I think it depends on, from what I can see, it's more so based off of their time behind the chair. I feel like most of our senior team, it's not necessarily financial. I think for some of them, it's like, I want to prove to those around me that I can make a substantial living. Like you blowing me off when I was younger, or you saying, oh, it's not sustainable. For them, it's like, no, it is. And I'm going to continue to grow and I'm going to continue to do it. But
The people around them, like their
Family,
immediate families.
yeah,
Yeah,
or
we've heard
exactly.
that over and over
Exactly.
again, that, it's not always a parent's proudest moment when their child says, I
Right.
want to be a hairstylist, which is sad because we have such an awesome industry.
Correct.
And that's something that I feel like we're, as a team, in the management portion of our team, we're really focused on hoping that we can change that conversation
Right.
within the industry. That's why we care so much about, and one of the reasons we care so much about, offering a 401k, having health insurance, being
Mhm.
more of a company that someone can come in and work in, or be a part of that
Right.
team than just having an opportunity.
I
We
know that
want
was,
that opportunity to be big.
yeah, and that was such a foreign concept to Nicole and I because we had so many family members on her side and on my side that were already hairdressers.
Correct.
When we decided we were going to be a hairdresser, everybody was like,
Cool.
"Awesome, cool, it's
Join
gonna
the
be great."
club. Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked the first time someone said that to us.
Yeah.
And that was actually someone's specific goal. They were like, I want to make X amount of money because I want to prove to my dad that
Yeah.
I had a future in this, or that I have a future,
And I
which was pretty
think,
crazy.
yeah, I could, like, looking back, I could say that that was an influence on me. Like, it never even crossed my mind that that would be an opportunity. And so now I'm like, well, where could I be? Like, my journey's just beginning, but might be my path later on. I don't know. So I think just like we get to sit down and have that conversation of what I would like my growth to look like, we get to do that with everyone. And I think that that's like new talent coming in. They're financial like they are financially driven. They are
They
They're
got to
want to
make a
make the
hungry.
money. They want to move out. They want
They
to do
are
all
hungry.
these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as you become established and know that this really can be a thing, then it's more about time or somebody who's starting a family. What does that look like?
Even 401k, like all of a sudden to say, oh my gosh, it's time. I'm going to start
Mhm.
investing in my 401k. I mean, our goal is that most of our people, I mean, we want them by the time they're 24,
Yeah.
26 at the latest to be investing in that and make sure that they've got a good support system for their future.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody that cares because if I didn't have you, nobody would be telling me about a 401k. I would be like, I'm okay. I'm young enough.
I know. I make it a non-negotiable. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we're going to do that. If you don't want to do maximum, you can do half, but
Yeah.
that's going to happen. It needs to happen. And I build it into what their like financial plan looks like for the year. What changes have you seen even just in your time? You've been with us how long now?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
I know.
How do you feel like the industry's changed and evolved, or even just our salon? What changes have you seen that you think are good?
Yeah, a lot.
Good.
A lot. When I first came in, we had a very steady group. Like we weren't growing, we weren't hiring.
We were just coming off of COVID, right?
Correct, yeah. And so for me, I became accustomed to it was pretty set in stone. Most of them had been, experienced stylists. There was nobody really new. Riley was the newest on the
Right.
team. And so I felt like I was coming into this already established set thing, which was good for me to kind of welcome into. But it was refreshing when those started to change because not only did it change my role a little bit and give me some opportunity, it also allowed me to see what it looked like to come into the industry or to come into a salon right out of school. And so I also heard more about what renting a space looks like or the challenges with that because I would have never even thought of that as a challenge to a salon. I just thought it was a thing. It's been a cool opportunity to listen on business side and on stylist perspective of what those changes can bring, but how we can also make the difference and say that doesn't have to be your only way to be successful.
I think that's one of the things we're really good at as a team is just being pivotal, like being adaptable and saying, that's not working. And we tell our team that all the time. Listen, if something's not working about what we're doing for your life, then let's talk about that and let's try and find a way to redirect, because I think that's really the death of so many businesses. It doesn't even have to be a small business. It can be in the corporate world. That becomes the death of someone's employment time because people are completely inflexible. Like, no, that's the way we do it. And that's the position. And that's how we're going to do it. And it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
If you have a relationship with people that's good and you mostly can jive with that person, why not continue to look for ways to evolve and grow? That's how we start every conversation. And you're in on all of those now, which is so tremendously helpful to us. But it's so great when you can just say to somebody, what do you want to see happen?
Mhm.
What do you want for your life?
Yeah.
And then we converse about that. And then we try and build a career around it.
And then we get to celebrate their success. Like
Yeah.
it's
So
such,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Hopefully, we get to celebrate their success.
Yeah.
So you mentioned versatility before. So how has the versatility affected your career at Blue? What have you gotten to do now that you didn't see yourself doing before?
Never once did I feel like I would get to be a part of the leadership team. I thought that I would work with clients, I would schedule their appointments, I would do checkouts, check-in, all the I don't want to call them basics because they're important.
No,
And
they're so important.
yeah, I
but yeah.
think that you are the first impression of a client as they walk in. So you do have a big role. The tasks aren't necessarily fulfilling. So I didn't really see myself moving past that because I didn't know what opportunity could arise out of that. I also had no idea how much goes into a business.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have done
Yeah.
it had I known. But
And so I feel now like my opportunities are endless. Like I could take on so many things. The amount of systems we've put into place, if one person feels like it may not be working, we try to pivot. Like we have, and it's been a privilege to be a part of that because now as we're expanding out of our space, like no other, like we are growing. It's
we're
also
busting at the seams.
Yeah.
It's such a great problem to have, but it is a problem. And then just being able to have a sounding board to, for us to have you to knock around ideas with and try and figure out what we feel like really does make something good. The other thing that I feel so happy about is that we can have a conversation. And I hope in our industry, it starts to become more of a conversation that your position starting with, answering phones and booking appointments, checking clients in and out, that can become a career position
Mhm.
for somebody that enters into the industry, I think is exciting. And really looking, I know that there are salons that have people in, that have grown and evolved from that position, but we never thought that would be the direction that we would go with front of the house, or, we say front of the house.
Wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly. You're never really in the front of the house. You're all over the place doing all the things. But to really be able to say, how can we incorporate bonuses
Mhm.
into that person's role and have because you're such a vital piece of what can happen. I notice even towards the end of the month when somebody's getting close to their goal, you really keep that conversation going. And we try to make sure, hey, how can we find an opportunity to get one more color in on, Megan's book so that she hits her goal. And I love that energy that you bring to the team. It's something that's irreplaceable. And to really for us to be able to really look at the business and say, this person deserves to have a career, plan
Mhm.
just like a stylist does is fun for us.
Yeah,
Really
it's
exciting.
been, even when I get to be a part of seeing the income that our stylists have, there's been many a times where I'm like, should I be behind the chair?
Yeah.
It's incredible to me, it feels like they're in control. Like they have the opportunities there. It's however they take it. And so
That's what they do with it. Yeah. They
correct.
can
Yeah.
we have stylists making, a
Yeah.
really, really nice living.
And
The IRS
so
might be listening. Don't tell them.
and so for me, I have contemplated that. Like, is that because I would get that client experience, I would still have that. But there's also part of it where it's like, well, my role has become like my baby. Like I've built this position that wasn't a thing and I don't want to lose that. Like I don't want to lose being a part. I get best of both worlds. When you're behind the chair, you get the clients, but mostly you're dealing with the staff and the stylists and their growth. The stylists get the clients. I get both. I get the clients and the stylists and the growth and all that comes with it.
Part of what I see you thrive in is the strategy, helping them gain a strategy or momentum. There's no disputing that you're the kindest person. Like every client interaction, the clients say, "Oh my gosh, how kind. She is so sweet. She's the sweetest person." So being able to use that talent or that gift and share it with a whole salon full of people, it's crazy. I mean, we see 800 plus clients a month and we've yet to have a complaint. I think one time on you, which was hilarious. Like
Very
some,
not nice.
I know it wasn't nice and you were being nice. So I don't know what happened there, but I mean, we've talked about too that it's even a challenge anymore because people do seem to be a little bit more unreasonable than they used to be. So a lot of our focus this year has been to be unreasonable in a positive way. You know?
Sometimes that means answering text messages on a Sunday or Monday, and we've tried to do a really good job of setting that boundary.
That's
but
all
it's
you
also
lately.
For me, it's also like it takes 2 seconds, and then I like answer this question for the client, and they're taken care of. And so or driving on my day off to go unlock the door for product. You know, it's the little things that mean a lot. And it wasn't until I had a client who I recognized her and I knew whose client she was, but I didn't remember her story. And she came up to me and she was like, "How are your boys?" And I was like, "How did you remember that?" Like, I didn't think that I had left that impact on her. And so that is what fills my cup. That's awesome. You get to be through all the good things, the hard things, weddings and babies and house buying, but you're also there and have an understanding when it's a hard time of someone passing or, someone sick.
What does the future for Caitlyn Hogan look like?
It's going to keep going. We're going very far with this future.
I love it. I love the energy. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I need Caitlyn Hogan.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still part of me that itches to be behind the chair. I do. I love when I get to see them.
I think you'd be so good at it, but my gosh, I would cry. But I want you to do what's.
Yeah, I want to continue to be a part of everybody's next step. So whether having a baby or buying a house, like I want to be a part and I want to know that I played my part in helping you get there. I would love to see Blue expand and maybe get an office.
I know that would be crazy. That's a crazy thought right now.
To sit at. That would be
we
nice.
have three people at a minimum in the office. That's tiny.
Very tiny, and it's hot.
Yeah,
it's hot in the summer, cold in the winter.
Yeah,
it's hardly cold anymore though because it's so occupied.
Yeah,
so many people.
I think for me, one thing that has kept me so motivated to be on this side and take it as far as I can is because I do have that flexibility. And so when I'm there, I want to be as present as possible. But for me, like I have 2 young kids and I don't want to have to miss a T-ball game, or if one of my kids is sick, like Jim doesn't have the flexibility and just being like, I can't come in today or.
Right.
So having that stress relieved, like I don't ever have to worry about that. We have our great support system around the house, but it's also freeing to wake up and not have to.
Not have
what am I supposed
a day
to do?
full of clients. Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit for you. Is right now the right time. If you wanted to do hair. I think, you'd be amazing at it either way, but we certainly love what you bring to the table for the salon as a whole. Couldn't do it without you.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. So in closing, we just want to ask you one final question. You know what it is because it's been kind of our theme, but at the end of the day, how do you leave it better than you found it?
I think there's so many different aspects to life that it can be applied to. So it can be like the little things of making sure everything's taken care of for school the next day, or that my boys feel like they have a full day or have had the fullest day that they can experience. But I also think with Blue and with my team, it's about acknowledging every single person. And I feel like that's such a big focus to me because I know what it's like to feel overseen. And I know that our team, like, they like to feel acknowledged and be heard and know that someone cares. And so I will take time to check in with everyone. And I think that it fills my heart just as much, but I hope that it gives them that as well.
I think it definitely does. And I think from where we're sitting, it's so wildly appreciated because there are times, and I say this all the time because I do it all the time. I have so much on my mind. I sometimes don't even see people. And I admire that quality in you so much because you always see people. You always ask about my day. You ask about my night. You ask about, I mean, you do it with everybody. And sometimes it really takes me being intentional to be like, okay, wait a minute. What do they have going on? Oh, I should ask about that. And so it's so appreciated that that's what makes up a team, but it's awesome to have you on our team and know that you're filling that space where sometimes we fall short. I mean, in many, many ways, but definitely when it comes to caring for people, I don't know that our team does it really well and they have an excellent example of that. So we thank you for that. We thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. It's been
Yeah,
fun.
no, it's been a pleasure, really. It's fun to talk about, where we think it could go. It's going to be more fun to see where it actually does go, minus all the stress that's
Yeah,
going to go into it.
It's going to be
All
where
the
nobody
things.
expects.
Yeah.
Truer words. Wise Charles.
Yeah, what I'm here for.
Yeah. Right, you want to end us?
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today. Katie, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time.